Major bear market starting here. Major bear market. Do you think Bitcoin's going straight into a bear market? Look at this. This is crypto, Bitcoin. Even stocks are dropping right now. And look at this. It's testing this 92K area right here. This is so crucial. Let me just show you guys how big of a deal this chart, this supporting trend line is. Look at this. If we put this on the weekly chart, this is what Bitcoin been supporting Bitcoin since 15K here back in November 2022, and all this way, right? It didn't even bounce off this trend line here, and now we're right here. So you would think this 92K area, and this is more like at 90, this horizontal line, this rising trend line crosses at 92K, and this horizontal trend line is at more at 91.8. And look how many times it supported the bottom of this double top here at 108, 109K. This is back in December, January, just after Trump got elected, but before he got inaugurated as the 47th president. So this 91, 92K area is hugely crucial. We're retesting it right now. We probably get a wick through, right, to like into the 80s, like 88, 89, people freak out and then bounce from here. In my last episode, I spoke about why we're dumping right now. I've never heard this answer from anybody else on the internet or on social media right now. Pablo is the only one saying this. Basically, my explanation from the last episode was why we're dumping, and this episode I'm going to explain when we will turn back up, if we turn back up. The reason we're dumping, just to quickly recap last episode, is because it's a 1-2 punch, left hand, right hand. Left hand is basically U.S. Treasury, which hands out all the checks to U.S. government employees and U.S. veterans, U.S. hospitals and teachers and, roads, DMV, right? They're not doing that right now. They've been shut down, but they've just reopened. Right, right-hand punch is the U.S. Federal Reserve, U.S. Treasury, U.S. Federal Reserve, which is basically paying out liquidity. They've been withdrawing so much liquidity from the system that that banks are actually short of money. They're borrowing money right now, and banks are basically going into a liquidity crisis, and therefore the Federal Reserve is going to end QT. We can see it right here, right? We can see it on this chart right here. This is basically when the Fed, this was all covered in the last episode. I'm just going to quickly recap and then go to when we're going to actually see the markets go up. I'm just quickly, for people who haven't been watching, recap why the market's been going down, because this was the money people had from COVID. They parked it in the banks, and the banks lend them out because extra cash. It's called reverse repos. When they run out, see here, it comes close to zero. Some banks don't have enough money, right? They don't have enough reserves, and they need to borrow money. Borrow money for 24 hours. That's called standing repos. Reverse repos is the green. Standing repos is red, and they're borrowing money, right? Yeah, it was really bad last Friday. It got to 2 Fridays ago, I think, or last Friday. It got to like 50 billion. Now it's gotten better, but it's still kind of bad. Now, so what is the situation we're currently in right now? When would this pivot? Well, then let me show you this chart. This is the others dominance. Others is basically the top 100 altcoins, not including the top 10. So that's not including XRP, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, Binance, Solana, those coins. So that means pretty much the mid caps, right? Such as Zcash, ZEC is included in there somewhere. The mid cap coins, Doge, Floki, those coins, this is their performance as a percentage of the overall market cap of crypto. You know how there's Bitcoin dominance, how much Bitcoin is against the rest of altcoins as the part of all crypto? Well, that's called Bitcoin dominance. This is called others dominance. This basically means the dominance of mid caps against all crypto. And look, we've just had this massive crash on October the 11th, thanks to CZ, Thank you, CZ. This is a daily chart. And then we formed actually this bull flag. This is actually not looking bad for mid-cap alts, even though the overall situation looks pretty terrible. Like if we put this line through here, right? This is actually not bad. This for mid bull flag, boom, we popped above, tapped the upper boundary, right? Bounced off there, and we're bouncing here, looking for the next leg up.